Alright, another Sunday, and I'm reshooting the entire video that I just lost because the card went bad. So, luckily I had another card, and here we go again. So, let's see, let's start with this. The vacuum canister. So, this vacuum canister is important because we need a volume of vacuum in order to control the map sensor and the IAC motor. Now, I'm going to just show you this a little closer. So basically, here's your IAC motor, which is nothing more than, not in this case, it's not a stock one, it's an aftermarket high performance one. But basically a stock IAC motor would fit right in here. The mounting is the same as you would see on most Chevrolets. And what it does is it creates a remote IAC assembly. That's a K&N filter. Once I'm actually done, I need to just put a little bit of the red oil that they provide for the filtration. This will go into the vacuum pod. This hole is going to get blocked off, and that's how you create it remotely, and the harness is going to plug right in there. So that'll cover that area. Now I got to get a little more creative with the map sensor. This is nothing more than a 3-bar GM map sensor, and again, it's not GM, it's a high performance one. You know, is there a high performance map sensor? That's what they say, but who knows? It's probably nothing more than a GM or some aftermarket map sensor. But anyway, these are items that if they were to fail, I do have an extra set of everything, but if they were to fail, you could just go to the auto parts store and purchase them. So that's a good thing, I guess. Okay, and also for the map sensor, and I'm not going to drag it out, I ended up finding an adapter that goes, because I don't like to splice wires and have a mess. It'll go from, this is technically a weather pack connector that GM uses. So it's going to go from a weather pack, and the other end, I found an adapter that goes to my harness, which uses a MetraPack adapter. So I didn't have to make anything. I was able to just purchase it already made. A lot of guys use them for LS swaps. So luckily that was available. It worked. I plugged it in. Everything works. The only thing I didn't do, I didn't trace out the harness with an odometer just to make sure that I actually do have connection. So this way I'm not going crazy when I hook it all up, and just because it plugs in doesn't mean it works. But the plug-in part worked. I'm fairly confident that the rest will be fine. Okay, so we talked about the vacuum pod. So basically you got 3 holes. The IAC is going to go in one, most likely out here. This one I'll use for the map, and this one here is the feed. And there is a check valve that goes in here, so this way it'll retain your vacuum without losing it, and it'll store it. So this way every time you start up, you don't have to fill that can. It'll still need to fill a little bit, but at least you won't lose it, as long as you got no leaks. It uses nothing more than just a simple brake booster type check valve. And for the rest of it, for the map sensor anyway, these are going to be most likely the fittings we're going to use, brass fittings. Always use brass, don't ever use cheap steel ones. Or if you're going to use steel because you want that color, then at least get the stainless steel ones. You can get those polished in brass, polished, or you can get them in a natural finish, but at least go stainless steel or brass. Don't use steel. Unless it's recommended by whatever you're doing, then you got to use steel. Otherwise it's going to get rusty and nasty. You got to constantly maintain it. You can spray it with a clear to try to protect it, but that doesn't work always. It doesn't last. Okay, so basically, also last week I spoke about creating a pressure cap for the master cylinder. So what I did is I had another master cylinder that was assigned for my coffin car, and come to find out I actually have an additional one that I didn't even know I had. I just ran across it in the machine shop last week. So basically what I did is I took the cap, I drilled it quarter NPT on both ends because this gasket does divide the two sections. And what I'm going to do is put a piece of simplex here, which is nothing more than plastic hose you use in a semi truck for the air system, a quarter inch in this case. Then I'll make a little pigtail here, and I'll connect it to a fitting, so this way I could connect my brake bleeder, pressure bleeder, to this unit, and it'll apply air to each section. So basically, you're going to put 5 to 7 pounds. You're not going to put anything more. They say you could go to 10 to 15 pounds, but I don't see the purpose in that. 5 to 7 is enough. So basically, we're going to apply air pressure to both sides. So as you go to the calipers, you bring a bottle with you, you put the tube on there and just crack it open, and you'll see the flow. You'll see the air, and then you'll see the solid stream. Boom, lock it up, you're bled. And you do that by beginning in the right rear, then you go to the left rear, then you go to the right front, and then you go to the left front. And the reason you do that is you want to take the air out from the farthest cylinder in the system, which is normally your right rear. And then you follow protocol. Left rear because it's still farther than anything else. Right front because it's still farther than the left front, and then left front finally. And you'll have a pretty good pedal. So in order for the air to get through and get to the fluid and get to the inside the cylinders, I had to cut the gasket. And this way it's still separated. It goes just like that. And you can see where the holes are that I drilled and tapped. So this way air will be applied to each section of the master independently. And we'll be using, I showed you this last week, well, let's look at it again. We're going to be using the AGM brake pressure bleeder, which it's a pretty good bleeder. I mean, it's less than $50, and if you're working by yourself, totally worth having. I also have, when I did my 80 Corvette, and I did all new calipers and everything on that, I actually used a vacuum bleeder. It worked, but you know, my son still had to help me get in there and just push, you know, pump the brake pedal just to make sure that the air was out. This will definitely put the air out. The other system is okay, but still requires, you know, the human touch of 2 people, not 1. This one here you should be able to do with 1 person. All right, so we had talked about the reservoir for the power brakes and the steering system, and here it is. It's got a diverter valve inside, so this way when it returns, it doesn't make a disaster. Or I'm sorry, when it feeds, it'll feed clean. So it's kind of like a little filter in there too. So basically both ends come up here. Let me show you. That's the valve I'm talking about right there. It also takes the air out of it, so you don't start aerating the system and cavitating. So basically, I'm going to put AN fittings in here, which I worked out last night when I was done with work. I came in here and I spent about an hour just working out fittings and what I need to order, what I already have. And so I didn't order anything yet. I'll be ordering tonight, just to see if I need anything else in whatever I do today. Today I'm going to try to bleed the brakes, or at least get set up for it. I don't know if you noticed, but the car is up on the quick jacks. And the quick jacks come in handy for the simple reason that they're easy to put away, get them out of your way. You can lean them against the wall, and they don't take up as much room as a lift. If you can see in the back corner there, I'm looking at my monitor, I think you can. Actually, that box is blocking it, but in the back corner, let's see if that made it a little bit better so you can see the top of it. But if you see where the speaker is right underneath it, you see that blue object there. It's a bed pack, single post lift. Again, comes in handy, but when you're doing center work on a car, it's not really that good. So I needed to get the 4 wheels off so I could start doing the brake bleeding. So I raised the car up. I actually raised the car up last week after the video, and I did some work to it. I'm going to get these wheels off, get them out of the way, and I'm just going to make sure all my lines are tight, The main lines are definitely tight. I do have to resecure my master cylinder. It's just hand tight right now. I'm just going to get everything together, and then I'm going to go through the bleeding process. And let's see, is there anything else? Oh yeah, just a simple regulator that I'm going to use on my compressor. Just, you know, nothing fancy. I usually don't use a regulator on my compressor because I usually work with full air, which I think my compressor is 150 or 175 pounds. I forget exactly. Let's see if it tells me here. Yeah, it does somewhere, but I'm not looking for it. But anyway, so I'm going to regulate it down when I do the brake bleeding so we don't have an accident. This way it'll be regulated here. It'll also be regulated in the AGM unit. So this way we got double protection. I don't want to do this work again. So the hood arrived. It's going to be useless because it's not going to fit because of the injection system. Also, let's see. Yeah, I think you can see it. This is an adapter for my arc droid, and if anybody's thinking about getting a CNC plasma cutter, and the problem is room, I'm sure many of you are familiar with the arc droid unit. I have one, but I also have a 5x10 CNC plasma table, which also becomes a router if I wanted to do any type of woodwork, which I do. I build guitars at times. And this would be your answer, because this will adapt your arc droid to be able to cut bigger projects. I forget the exact specs, but you can look it up. I believe it's called the X2. And again, I buy all this stuff. It does, yeah, right there, X2. I buy all this stuff. Nobody gives me any sponsorships or anything like that. I pay for everything you see here. But if a product is good and I think it can help somebody, I'm going to tell you about it. If a product is crap, I'm going to tell you that too. And so far, my experience for what I bought has been pretty good. Sometimes I end up with extra parts for the simple reason that even though you do all your research, the problem is sometimes there's something that's stated in that advertisement or in that video, but when you get the product in your hand, you find that, you know what, this is a little bit bigger than I thought. The dimensions said this, but this is this. You know, things change, or there's advertising mistakes or whatever. But this is how you end up with extra parts. A lot of guys send them back, but I have so many projects that I just put them on a shelf so I know I'm going to use them. You know, the only thing so far I'm going to say is a waste of money, but maybe not, because maybe I won't like the injection system and I want to do something different, is the hood. I really wanted a stock hood, but unfortunately it looks like that's not going to happen. And I'm not going to modify the hood to make it fit. I'm just going to get a Malibu hood and put a scoop on it, or I'll find this, a hood that's already made. I want steel, I don't want fiberglass, and hopefully I can find a hood that's steel, that has a decent scoop on it, that doesn't look like it's 30 feet in the air, because I don't like that, not for what I'm trying to do here. But you know, unfortunately I need to find a hood, but I'm going to wait on that because I got so many other things to do. I figured out my radiator, and there's a lot more stuff I need to order. I need time to do that, and I got to make sure that, especially for the radiator, I got to make sure it's the right one, because if I get the wrong one, that would have to go back, because I don't have another Chevelle to put it in, so it's not going to work for anything else. I mean, you could hack it and make it work, but I choose not to do things like that. And okay, so I'm going to pop the camera off, and we're just going to look at the car a little bit and go from there. Let's see, were there any other tools or anything that I came across that might help you guys? No, I think that was it. Again, it was a really tough week. It was a tough weekend. I worked all day yesterday till late, and it looks like I'm going to have a few more weekends like this, and it's hard to come here, and like, I'm dead tired right now, and I'm sure you can see it. My eyes are like half closed, but it's hard to come in here and have full concentration on doing a project. If you don't have full concentration and you're not in that mode, Just don't do it, because you're going to end up hacking it up, you're going to end up getting hurt, or you're going to damage something. Just don't do it. Walk away, watch television. Alright, let me pop the camera off and walk around a little. Okay, just a reminder, I'm not a cameraman, so I'll do the best I can here. There's a hood. The quality of the hood is actually really, really good. And everything looks like as it should. It's a little different than the OEM hood, just from remembering what the OEM hood looks like. The actual cowl, there's the hole for the door. And I checked it. I pulled it out just briefly, just to make sure it wasn't dented or smashed up or anything that I need to put a claim in for, and it was good. A bunch of other parts came with it, the door, all the parts that you need to actually assemble it and make it work. Here's the X2 table that came in. That I showed you last week, or the week before. I got the door panels. And basically, this is the area where I'm thinking about putting the vacuum pod. Let's see if we can pop it in there real quick. It's hard to do with one hand. Alright, so just a general idea of putting the vacuum pod in. Something at an angle so it doesn't look stupid. Although another thing I really didn't want to use, but I don't have a choice. And I'm going to run a main line from the pod to the plug that's right there. And I'm going to put an AN adapter in there and run a braided hose that'll lead to here. And obviously I'm going to have to come up with a solution of how to attach the hose to the check valve. Probably the same thing I did with the hose that I'm going to use for the power steering setup. And basically the fake fitting, I'm going to clean it up like I did here. This is not done yet, because I might have to cut it back a little, because I do have to tee into the power steering reservoir. So this still, I have to heat shrink this still, and I got to leave the rubber out a little bit, because I got to put a clamp on there, and then slide this little dress up thing over it. So I'm probably going to do the same idea for the vacuum pod. Now, in the same area, I want to undermount. Let's see if what kind of a picture I can get here. Like I said, I'm not a cameraman. I'm going to put an L bracket here, most likely aluminum. Or if I have to use metal, I'll definitely coat it, clean it up, prime it, coat it, make it decent, round off the edges. I'll put it here, so this way we can take this. Sorry for making you guys dizzy. And I'll mount this somewhere here, because I still have to be below the line for the hood. So if I do want to put a hood on here, I'm going to put a hood on here, it won't interfere and I won't have to redo it. So I'll probably have it down here. It's still higher than the feed, so it'll work and it won't be a problem. And as you can see, I got everything up on the jacks, and these are the bend pack quick jacks, I believe they call them, with a hydraulic power unit, which is just sitting there on the floor. And they're great, because you just get them out of your way, lean them against the wall, put them in the other garage. You can put them anywhere just out of your way. And they're good to have. And I can give you a shot of, there's the lift back there, the single post lift. And that comes in handy too. That one was a little bit pricey, but I definitely needed it in here, because I had a 2-post lift, or a 4-post lift in here, but I moved it to the house garage to use it for storage for my Corvettes, because I needed, when I purchased a new Corvette, I needed somewhere to put it, and that was a simple solution, was to stack them. And I guess that's about it. So here's the sloppy workbench, but if it were neat, it means I'm not doing anything. And I guess today's project is going to be to deal with this, to deal with the power steering, and I still got to get into the interior and start doing the power windows and all that. So let's put this back on a stand and let's finish up. Okay, so one good thing is it's getting warmer out, so I'm going to be able to finally start moving things into the machine shop and leave the doors open without all the heat escaping and costing a fortune, because my electric bill and my propane bill it's like paying another mortgage, a high mortgage, not a cheap one. So I'll be able to get some of the stuff that I'm not using, that don't need, or basically didn't work for what I'm doing here, and I can put a lot of this stuff in my trailer, which is also housing the Camaro at this point, and a bunch of other tools and things I'm just not using at the moment. But with the better weather, I can leave everything wide open, move things around, and I'll be able to pick up a lot of room in here, which is what I need. If I come to a stall in this car for any reason, which hopefully I won't, I'm just going to move it over to the side, and I'll get the coffin car in here to frame and get started on that. So at least I'm still moving towards some type of a goal of getting these vehicles done. I've waited a long time to do them, and you know, now's the time. I'm running out of time. I'm old. You know, I'm 62 years old at this point, and it's just time for these bucket lists to start taking things out of the bucket. It's time to start pouring that bucket out and doing what you got to do. And besides all this, I have a ton of house maintenance to do, and unfortunately I've had good and bad experiences with bringing contractors in. A lot of them talk a great game, but unfortunately it doesn't end up the way I pictured it. And I know how to do this stuff, so it's not like I'm just a person standing on the sides not knowing how it works. But sometimes I just see what I don't like, and I have to just take over and finish it myself. So I got a few projects, not a lot. My house, for the most part, is always kind of like this car or any other car. It's always under some type of a change. I think I'm happy with all the changes I've done in there. I don't think I'll spend a lot of time in there this summer. I think I'm going to be able to really be out here, which is where I really want to be, finishing up my projects. I have a backyard project. Right now it's kind of like a muddy mess. Not all of it's just part of it. We did some renovations, new fencing, a bunch of stuff. So those are things that also eat up my time on a weekend where I can't come here and work on my car. And I'm sure a lot of you guys go through that, and you got to make choices. But this year I'm really trying to get all the art stuff done early. And I do have a great guy that helps me out with all the yard work and all that. He does a beautiful job, and I don't have to sit here and watch him. Actually, he maintains all my properties, my Bridgeport property here, property at the shop. He takes care of everything for me. So I think I should be able to get this car running, hopefully, in I want to say another month, but it's all dictated by work. I have to work or I have no money to do what I do. So, you know, and I'm not touching my savings to work on a car. That's not going to happen. So I guess that's about it. I guess enjoy your Sunday, whatever's left of it. Enjoy your weekend, whatever's left of it. And hopefully I'll have a little bit more to show you guys next week. You know, I mean, if it's brake bleeding, I'll just be able to tell you I did the brake bleeding, and hopefully I'll be able to show you a little bit more than that. All right, so I guess that's about it. I think we talked about whatever tools I bought, like the arc door table, and yeah, I believe all that stuff I talked about. I talked about the remote IAC and the map sensor and the harness and all that. And I guess that's about it. All right, guys, have a good weekend. Thank you for watching.